In German, we have two ways of negating things. We have the word nicht in order to say not, or we have kein, keine, and other variations of that in order to say not. So, which one to use when? This all depends on what exactly you are negating in your sentence. So, generally, rule of thumb, if we want to negate a verb, or let's say the action of the sentence, we use nicht. Das ist nicht gut. That is not good. Das ist nicht gut. So we have the whole thing, the verb to be, that is being negated in this sentence. If we have a noun, we would use kein. So the better English translation is actually no rather than not. Like no person, kein Mensch. No man, kein Mann. No woman, keine Frau, and so on. So in this case, we grammatically negate the noun that follows. This means that the negation is always directly in front of the noun. Unless we put an adjective in, the adjective squeezes between the article and the noun. So I just said article because if you look at it, kein, keine is actually the negative article of ein, eine. So the indefinite article is being negated by adding a k in the beginning. So whatever variation we have from ein, eine, grammatically, we also have with kein, keine, and it always follows the same rules. Okay, now back to nicht. I will give you more examples. Ich mag ihn nicht so sehr. Ich mag ihn nicht so sehr. I don't really like him that much. So, in English we have the negation in the do not, I don't. But in German we have the nicht, because again the verb, the mögen, to like, is being negated. Or, wir wollen das nicht. We don't want that. Wir wollen das nicht. So you might ask, where do I put this nicht? And that's a tricky question, because nicht is one of those parts of the sentence that sort of always takes the place that is not being taken by something else grammatically. Because we have some crazy rules in German where to put which kind of the sentence, which particle of the sentence. So nicht doesn't really have a rule, it takes the place that is still unoccupied. So very often you will find a very, very long sentence. And the very last word of that sentence is nicht. So you might think for the first 15 words of the sentence it's going to be a positive statement, and then the last word is going to negate it all. So that's very common, and maybe that's why Germans don't really interrupt each other when they're talking, I don't know. Because we always have to wait, because the negation might come at the very end.
That reminds me about a funny thing I heard before, that you won't know a German speaking to you whether or not he likes you or he wants to kill you because of the nicht.
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So the nichts, I can place it everywhere?
No, you can't. It might seem to you that it can be placed everywhere, because it just will naturally take a place that is not taken yet. Because nicht just has no priority. Other parts of speech have priority. Adjectives have their fixed place. Verbs have their place. Objects have their place. Adverbs have their place. Time has its place. A place has its place. But nicht doesn't really have a place. So in the end, it's pretty much random. So I can't really give you a rule where to put it.
Because in English, I don't always in that, for sure, in that position.
In English, it's a lot easier if you want to say it like that. Yeah, because you can just negate the verb by putting it directly with the verb. If you want to express a German sentence that is negative, you can do the same, because when you are talking and you really want to get your message over that this statement is negative, then just place it directly with the verb and the people you are talking to will understand. But I'm saying this because you might be surprised sometimes to hear a really long sentence and then at the end you have the nicht. So yeah, just don't be surprised about that. But when you are trying to formulate a sentence, don't worry too much about it. As long as you use nicht, you'll be fine. Unless, of course, we have a noun, then you should use kein, keine. I will give you some examples for the use of kein. For example, if you want to say, I have no idea, again, this translates into English better no rather than not. Ich habe keine Ahnung. You can't say, ich habe nicht Ahnung or ich habe Ahnung nicht. That really doesn't make sense in German. So, because we really say, I have no idea, we negate the article ein. Ich habe eine Ahnung, I have an idea. Ich habe keine Ahnung, I have no idea.
So I can't say, ich habe Ahnung keine.
No, because articles always precede the nouns. Always. Just like adjectives. So if you want to add an adjective into that, keine genaue Ahnung, I have no specific idea, for example, then the adjective goes right in the middle. Another example, kein Mensch geht dahin. No one goes there. So, kein Mensch, no human goes there, geht dahin. Kein Mensch geht dahin. Again, we have kein, we can't use nicht. Or, ich habe kein Interesse. I'm not interested. In this case, the English translation is not, because in English we negate the verb to be, but in German we have this noun, Interesse, because to be interested translates into Interesse haben, so it's got nothing to do with the verb to be. So we use kein. Ich habe kein Interesse. I am not interested. Okay, so then we have some further fixed expressions like not anymore, not yet. In these cases it's also important in what way to use nicht or kein. For example, we have nicht mehr. Ich will nicht mehr. I don't want anymore. Ich will nicht mehr arbeiten. I don't want to work anymore. So nicht mehr is always not anymore. You can't separate those two. Nicht mehr, that's an expression and it has to be like that. Or noch nicht. Ich bin noch nicht da. I'm not there yet. So not yet would be translated into noch nicht. And then if we want to negate a noun, again we also have kein mehr. Ich habe keinen Hunger mehr. I am not hungry anymore. Keinen Hunger mehr. So kein, the article goes in front of the noun and mehr goes after the noun. So also these expressions are very useful and you should learn them. So nicht mehr, kein mehr and noch nicht. Okay, I hope that has been quite clear and yeah, you will have fun learning these and you will just hear them everywhere in sentences, and if you just pay attention, if you listen carefully to how people speak, it will just come naturally after a while and you'll just adopt it and get a feeling for when really to use nicht and when to use kein. But as I said, general rule, negating a verb, nicht, negating a noun, kein. Okay, thank you very much for listening and I will see you in the next lesson. Auf Wiedersehen.